Gena, can I get a little more bass down the line?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
I'm Gena Johnson. I'm an engineer, producer, mixer in Nashville, Tennessee. RCA Studio A is one of the most historic studios, not only in Nashville, but in the world. I love the history in that room. It's like if the walls could talk. It has housed some of the greatest musicians, legendary records from Dolly Parton, I Will Always Love You, and Jolene recorded in the same 3-hour session, to Chris Stapleton's latest album. It's my absolute favorite studio.
Learning how to use my wings.
The track that we recorded today is called Over Everything.
Get over it.
Initially, when Ashley sent the track to me, just a raw work tape with her singing with acoustic guitar. It sounded very old school country, beautiful. So I challenged her and I challenged the musicians to go outside of what they thought, this is exactly what the song
It
needs.
can get weird and vibey and like
I think just let's get experimental, and I'm totally good with messing around with the form.
We talked about arrangement, we talked about adding a tag at the end of the song.
Get over everything.
Perfect.
Then we made copies of the chart and went to cut the song. Technically, when approaching this song, I thought, how do I want this to sound and how do I want this to come across? We used the Focusrite Red16Line as our main interface. We had 16 channels of audio running directly into Pro Tools.
Damn you, Robin, I wish I took
When thinking about a vocalist, I'm thinking about the tone of their voice, just like any other instrument, and how best to get a big picture of their voice. Ashley has a very naturally country voice, and so I didn't want something that was going to be really bright. So I chose a 269, and then I went into a Neve 1073, and then to a Fairchild 660. I definitely have a soft spot for analog. I love working on a real console. I love hands-on faders. I love being able to EQ something right there very quickly and get the result you want.
learning how to use my wings.
After we tracked all the basics for this song, we went back and thought, what's missing? So I asked Chris Bowell to go into the booth and create some sort of little drum loop. And he came up with this loop in the second verse, and after we heard it in the second verse, we needed it throughout the whole entire song.
1,000 miles away, long gone without a trace.
You're gonna find the best of the best in Nashville. The session players, you cannot go wrong. Yes, there are some fantastic musicians that have been doing this forever, but anybody that wants to be a musician at that level has to put the work in. Billy was an integral part of this song. He's so good at figuring out what the whole vibe should be. Maybe it's like a kind of sparkly synth thing.
The sound on the Juno that I was.
That would be so dope, just once in a while. Billy came up with this like pulsing synth pad that was really, really cool and ended up being what we all loved, and we couldn't live without it.
To get over everything.
Johnny actually came in to play acoustic, but he also plays steel. I didn't want it to be regular steel. I said, let's put it through a bunch of pedals and let's just see what we can make of it. He came up with this super cool sort of atmospheric steel part. It's kind of like hippie steel.
Learning how to use my wings.
I feel like you can always know when you're recording the take that's the one, right? The master take. And everybody usually knows in that room. There were so many magical moments, but at the end, all of a sudden, everybody just kept vibing and kept playing, and it turned into this sort of ethereal, beautiful moment. And it just kind of did this natural fade. And that energy is really what I live for in the studio.
I think it'd be more interesting if it was not typical.
What is happening, I think, is amazing.
One of my favorite parts about making records is the collaboration. Not only seeing the musicians in the room taking a demo of a song and making it to a fully finished product, but also from getting to know the artist as a human being and figuring out what they want to sound like. How do they want to present themselves to the world? It's extremely important to know the person that you are making music with. The more comfortable and the more at home an artist feels in the studio, the better performance you're gonna get, and also the more fun you're gonna have. After the track is recorded and comped, and the vocal is comped, and any sort of tuning that needs to be done, or pocketing or editing, then I get to hand it over to another beautiful set of hands, the mixer, who just happens to be Reed Shippen. Getting to work in this sort of capacity on a track that I produced and engineered, and then giving him to take on to the next level just is a really cool feeling.